Hi everyone, it's Alicia and welcome back into my kitchen. And I want to wish you all a happy Halloween, and for those who celebrate, a bright, blessed, bountiful Samhain. Samhain, for those who don't know, is the Wiccan pagan New Year. It's a time to honor the dead, as it's believed that the veil between our world and the world of the dead and otherworldly spirits is at its thinnest. It's also a time to give thanks for the harvest, both the literal harvest being brought in and the metaphorical harvest of life. It's a time to reflect on what's happened over the past year, and it's a great festival. It's my favorite holiday, my favorite Sabbath, and contrary to what fundamentalist Christians might want to say, it has nothing to do with devil worship. The devil, demons, they aren't things in paganism, so those who say otherwise, they're full of it. One of my favorite recipes I've been making for several years now for Samhain is Barmbrack, which is a traditional Irish fruit bread that's made around Halloween. And the recipe I found comes from a wonderful YouTube channel called OReillys Recipes, hosted by two lovely Irish gentlemen. I will link it in the description below. And that's how you know this recipe is authentic, because it comes from two guys from Ireland. I had to convert the measurements into cup measurements. I know I should have a kitchen scale, but I don't have one yet. And also I had to substitute a couple ingredients based on the equivalents I could find here in the States, but I'll talk more about that as the recipe goes on. And it's a wonderful recipe. It's made with a lot of cupboard staples, so you might already have most of or all of the stuff to make it. And with that, let's get started. Oh, I love this time of year. So let's get to making some barmbrack. And here are the ingredients you'll need. First, you'll need 16 ounces or 2 cups of dried mixed fruit. You can use whatever kind you like. I went with a mix of raisins, both dark and golden raisins, dried cranberries and dried cherries, and you'll need to get these the night before and soak them in a cup of tea. And I don't just mean like a basic cup of tea, I mean 8 ounces or half a pint of water, and it needs to be a strong cup of tea, so use 2 tea bags, and I used an Irish breakfast tea blend. But here we have the fruit that's soaked overnight and has soaked up all the tea, and it smells so good. Some flour, baking powder, and salt. And I got a new set of dishes that came with these cute little bowls that are great for measuring out ingredients. I'm so excited to have them. But those are most of our dry ingredients. Some brown sugar, just a little bit. 2 eggs. The original recipe called for mixed spice, and the closest equivalent I could find for us here in the States is pumpkin pie spice, and some baking soda. And the first step you'll need to do is to mix the baking powder and salt together into the flour. Now the flour, baking powder, and salt are mixed together, so the next step is to mix together the fruit, and of course scrape in any tea that's left in the bowl, because that adds flavor. So we'll mix together the fruit, the brown sugar, the eggs, and the pumpkin pie spice. With a wooden spoon, of course. You have to use a wooden spoon for this. And here is the fruit mixture all mixed up, and I wish you guys could smell this. The smell is just incredible. It smells dark and rich and cinnamony. Make this cake, and then if there are any candle makers out there, make candles with this scent, call it Barmbrack. It'll be a bestseller, I tell you. But now that we've got all this wonderful holiday richness mixed together, what we're gonna do now is mix in the flour mixture. We'll mix that in, and the baking soda. Here is the dough initially mixed, and as you can see, it's very thick, and the recipe has a solution for that, which if your dough is very thick like this, just add a splash of milk. And you can just kind of eyeball it, but if you want to measure it out, I'd say about 2 tablespoons of milk. Here we go. This is the batter with some milk mixed in, and it's looking much better. And you'll know that the batter has the consistency you want if when you turn over the spoon, the batter just plops off like that. So when it does that, you've got the right consistency and it's ready for the tin. And I'm going to be baking this in, I think this is a 9-10 inch springform pan, but I'm going to be baking this in a springform pan that I lined with parchment paper. And you can also do this in an 8-inch round cake pan. I've done that before. Or you could also bake it in a loaf pan, but either way you'll want to grease your pan and line it with parchment paper and then pour in the batter. And also there are some special treats you can put in as fortune-telling games that are traditional in Ireland, and I'll talk about that in the description below. But mix in your treats if you're going to add them, and then pour in the batter into your prepared pan. And this is the cake batter in the pan, all ready for the oven. I poured it in and leveled it off with the back of a spoon. So now this is going to go into the oven at 355 degrees. There it is, just put into the oven. If you're baking this as a loaf, bake for 1 hour. If you're baking as a round cake, I would say about 40-45 minutes. But of course, check, use your nose and use a toothpick or a slim knife to test the cake. And with that, I will see you when this is baked. And here is the Barmbrack just out of the oven. It's a lovely golden brown, and when I stuck a knife in the middle, it came out clean. And this was in the oven at 355 for 40 minutes, but again, use the typical baker's test to see when your cake is done, because your oven might be different. But oh, I cannot wait to dig into this. This is seriously one of the most delicious cakes you will ever eat. It's wonderful to have with lots of butter on the slices, especially if you happen to have Kerrygold Irish butter, but unfortunately I don't have any. It's pretty expensive to buy here in the States, but if you have any good quality butter, will be amazing on this. And this makes a fantastic breakfast or dessert whenever you want to enjoy it. So yeah, this is Barmbrack for Samhain, and I will leave the recipe in the description below, as well as the link to OReillys Recipes, the YouTube channel I got this from. Please go and follow them. They are fantastic, just wonderful to watch. They share great recipes, great stories, and they just started posting again after being absent for a couple years. So go show them some support and some love, and I will see you next time in my kitchen. Happy Halloween, blessed Samhain, and blessed be.